Yeah, it is recording. Just give me a minute.
Welcome back, people of the internet.
Yeah. Now we are continuing our fictional story. Let's go through the story. Yeah. This one was unemployment. Okay. One of the biggest failures of Modi government has been huge increase in unemployment. The Modi government has just promised 2 crore jobs a year
2 crore jobs per year.
uh, from implementing these guarantees. The last
So
5 years
in
have actually
August,
seen a reduction in jobs. India has the highest level of unemployment recorded. So
decades.
okay, these are facts that I understand.
Statistics, okay. The statistics
Statistics,
are in
okay.
August 2023,
Uh,
8% an unemployment rate, out of which youth, so youth is 15 to 24 years.
mm,
That is 23%, and graduates is 42%,
mm,
right? In January to December of 23, 65,000 employees were fired by top four corporates.
mm.
So there's name of these companies, like we
You
have
think there's a
Fang or
manufacturing
Mang.
sector, or public, private sector, government sector, there is a huge attack on the most productive workforce in the entirety. Even recruitment in armed forces critical for Indian security. Indian security, okay, now being contractized with cruel Agniveer schemes. Huge losses, jobs and income primarily in rural India witnessed during the COVID has hardly changed. But giving departments of the urban area, people returning to village from survival. Okay. What are the takeaways? The CPM stands for inclusion of right to work as a constitutional right. Right to work. Right to work
Yes,
as
they want to
CEO,
include it as a. They want to
CEO,
include it as
CTO. No. Right to work as a head of Communist Party. No. Right to work as a laborer.
no
That's
right
it.
to have some kind of employment,
Ah,
basically.
right to work as laborer only. You should not be the head of the Communist Party. You're just laborer. That right I will grant you. Will instead of using huge machines, they will give you spoons to dig tunnels. So that's why they will be giving employment. Yeah, for huge people. That is
So they
also
will,
employment.
yeah.
The vacancies in government and public sector posts must be filled urgently. Okay, strengthening and expanding MSME, which can generate jobs. MSME, wow, the budgetary
MSME, they
allocation.
want to separate,
Uh,
support the MSME
First
from to,
support in Kerala, we look at India afterwards. The budgetary
uh,
allocation of MG and REGA must be doubled. A new
doubled.
law guaranteed urban employment must be
Mm.
legislated and an employment allowance must be provided. If you give allowance to the unemployed, why will they get employed in the first place? Hmm. Destruction of Indian demographic dividend must be reversed through a change in current policy of job loss growth.
Job loss growth. No idea what that means.
Uh, it's like the rate of increasing of inflation is decreasing, which
Mm.
doesn't make sense. Which is basically you are in the worst position only, but we coat it in with sugar, so you think that something is decreasing at least.
Now I relate it to education and
Uh,
preventing privatization of higher
Education.
education.
We
So the
will
argument
allow
is
Marx, Lenin, and Stalin in schools. National education policies outright assault on the right to
2020.
education, with its
Yeah.
emphasis on commercialization, centralization, and
Commercialization, centralization, and communalization.
we should what is this? Communize this education system also. But
But this brings an interesting point. So
we will
see
talk
again,
about World War II in communist books, but we will never talk about Malta-Ribbentrop Pact, which is a fascist propaganda. Stalin never signed any pact with Hitler. We will not mention that in the documents. The budget allocation of public educations are less than 3%
3% of
of. No,
GDP.
this I'll agree. The amount of
Mm.
money going to education is very, very less in India. But you cannot put propaganda in that, right? Oh,
Nee, but
what if we increase it
okay, listen.
10%?
It's not about propaganda. Like, this is an interesting thing to think about.
This problem is correct
Uh,
only. Like they are putting so little money into the education
First of
compared to
all,
any
I think
developing country.
the education policy, does it relate to higher education, or is it about more about
No,
like the
no, no.
school
Higher education,
education,
no, 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 no.
higher education
Education
also?
in entirety. Yeah.
because like from what I remember, like the things that they highlighted from the this policy like few years ago was more about like students who did not want to like who wanted to pursue medical but did not take biology in their 11th and 12th, they can pursue. So these kind of arguments, which
Arguments. No,
recently they
those are like provisions. It doesn't come under budgetary things, I guess.
no, not about the budget. I'm saying about the education policy
There are.
because they had done a lot of things like they said that you don't necessarily have to take the conventional subjects,
See,
like you
of all
can
the things, I don't know about the communist in India, but the Soviet Union has very good science, science education. Like it's one of the best.
Mm, mm. No, but this is not about them. Na. This is about the
This
education
is about
policy.
Indian
See, listen,
Indians, so it will be much more degraded. I
why
understand.
I'm saying why I'm saying why I'm saying this is because uh, like the educational system in any way is getting more and more filtered down these days, right?
Mm,
And the problem is like okay, like earlier also and in the future also, it will be easier to create more and more employees, right? Okay, like if you want people with certain quality, like certain skill sets, people who are proficient in programming and this and that,
mm,
etc., etc., it's easier to create that workforce. But to create a good level of thinkers and doers who can themselves, uh, you know, like choose whatever career to pursue, etc., etc., and do well by themselves. I think that kind of thing will go down if we don't have an understanding of what kind of educational system exists, like pan India,
mm,
right? And also, like, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of discrepancy in the states as well as like the central like education schemes where the percentages don't match out. Like, like for example, in some states, like let's say UP and Bihar, like rarely give you good percentages of marks, right? Whereas in some states like
mm.
Gujarat, they like your percentage would be 60, 65, but your percentile score will be 95, 96.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't even make sense. So, so my point here is, a like the education policy, uh, like not necessarily now, but moving forwards, we need to be aware of what kind of changes are being made and how is it affecting the like the current and upcoming generation of kids. At the same time, how the government is sponsoring, whether it's withdrawing, because you see, in the past few years, even the IITs and all, they have been hiking their fees.
Mm,
It could be probably because they're not getting enough funds from the center, right? This is
yeah.
what I mean to
Proud.
say. So like people essentially they will see like okay, they are hiking the fee, they are doing this, they are doing that, but it's also because they're not getting enough funds.
Mm,
A lot of kids who go into IITs and IIMs and all, they take for granted the fact that they'll be given food and blah 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 at a like very cheap rate, and they
mm.
don't necessarily consider that this is all centrally funded,
Yeah,
which is
this
why
this
they're
I
getting it
agree.
cheaply.
This I agree in the most part. The CPM stands for
Their
6% in
their
GDP,
argument is just keep will double the GDP from
GDP,
3% to 6%.
but allocation of
Like because
education.
they are again because they're just like this is what is wrong. This is how we what we'll do to
Uh,
correct it. Simple.
they
There
are
is
worst,
no
we are
thought
bad.
behind it.
Uh,
There is no thought behind it. Ki why will we correct? Why will we
why
do
six
this? How
percent
will we
only?
do this? Why 6% only? Exactly.
Uh,
What is the statistics behind it?
it stands
Something.
for
Yeah.
reversal of policy. Okay, understood. Strengthening federalism. Do they actually believe this? The communist state itself is a centralized state. Any communist state is centralized state. There will be no federal systems.
This is where their argument comes.
Defending
They
rights
want
of
the
state. Okay.
see go below.
Yeah.
This is all nonsense. The
Disregard
important thing is
from.
here. See, read the highlighted part.
Okay, this one. CPM stands for Restoration of Constitutional Rights of a States, which have been severely diluted by the
Severely
Modi
done.
government. So when
How will
communist
they do it?
government came, there will be no states, so there will be no rights, there will be no violations.
How will they restore the rights?
The
See,
CPM stands for
devolution of
develop 50% of total
50%
collection of central taxes to
tax.
the states. Because there is only one state that the communists are in power, so they'll get the money. If they go into center power, no, they'll remove that 50 and make it 100% to center only.
This is
Stand.
the whole like this is the simple idea they build up in the whole like all
See,
the
they
lines.
know they made their policies to get into power into one state only. Even they know they will not be getting power in the center. including share of surges and seizures levied by
This
the
is
center.
levied by the center. So the
So
basic argument, which
the
kind of
common
doesn't make sense.
man will not get any advantage. It just there are two thieves. It's like sharing between thieves only. It's not helping us in any way.
True. Nee, but at the same time, like the 50% idea notion, it's quite enticing for the common people. But
Mm,
at the same time, it doesn't make sense like how the center will provide 50% to all the states, like
mm.
the structure for it, whether it's such a structure exists or not, etc., etc. It doesn't discuss anything about it. It just blandly says that we will
See here
work
also.
or
See the second thing.
stands
It stands for the governors to be chosen out of the panel
panel
of
of three
three
eminent
eminent
persons
persons proposed by chief
proposed by
minister
the
only,
chief
not prime
minister.
minister. Why?
Prime
Because
Minister.
they know they will not become prime minister. Their candidate will not become prime minister. Their
The
candidate can
governor
only
is
become chief minister.
governor is governor is part of the state
State
legislature, no?
legislation. For an
So
end to policies to promote centralization at the
centralization
expense
at
of
expense of
states.
states.
Okay. At the expense of states only, not they didn't even talk about individual rights. Because in communist society, there will be no individual rights. There are only communist rights, communal rights only. So they only talk about state. State is the most important thing, not individual.
You're quite go out there. Social justice.
Social justice. Moving away from social justice, this one. Yeah, let's see. Moving away from constitutional arguments of equality to all for realizing the objectives of social justice. The socially oppressed sections are subjected to greater injustice and discrimination. In what area? You say the socially oppressed groups are in which area are you talking about? Are you talking about Kerala, Andhra Pradesh,
Mm,
or you are talking about Jammu Kashmir? Jammu Kashmir they will not talk about
mm.
that. I can tell you.
They'll talk. They have talked about JNK separately. They've talked about JNK and Northeast
No, no, no.
separately
They
in the
don't talk
point.
about the oppressed sections in JNK.
JNK.
Oppressed sections are only in the states where BJP is in power. Even in Kerala,
Oh,
there will be no oppressed states because the communists are in power. How can there be?
oh.
The 10 years of Modi rule has set an all-out assault on the principle of social justice based on Manuwadi approach of the BJP government. I honestly think how many of you read that Manu book something
Smriti.
Manusmriti. I don't think anyone read
Mm.
that. They are just following the tradition. Just
I
like
think from what I recall, it's quite discriminative in terms of like
the Indian communists don't talk about what Soviet communists wrote about Indian communists. They just don't talk. They'll think that we are friends only. Instead of implementing constitutional spirit for annihilation of the caste system, the Modi government has used cynical methods to promote narrow caste identities for political benefits, which maintain the hierarchy of the caste system. Caste system can only be maintained in communist hierarchies only. It should not be maintained in any party's hierarchies. That's what they meant. The huge backlogs of vacancies of this I'll agree, is in the indication of duplicitous policies on reservation for the most marginalized and oppressed section. Yeah. While the outsourcing and privatization policy of government has hugely reduced the number of jobs, okay. Scholarship for not just SCC, but every student will increase. It should increase if they
mm,
want to really go into research.
mm,
The pennies they are providing, people will not be interested in doing research in any institute
mm.
in India, whatever the
But
institute is.
also, but also at the same time, if you see people in the sciences and engineering, you rarely
Hmm.
hear from them. Like people are
Because they'll be
essentially
getting jobs which are much better than the research, then they'll be going,
j-
they'll not complain anything.
jobs also at the same time. Like yeah, the issue is with more of like liberal arts and arts education where
Hmm.
you hear more of the noise.
Because it has to come from
And
the state only. The state should sponsor most of the liberal education because there are very few
okay,
jobs in the private
possibly
sector.
private sector. Yeah, like there should be some sort of either you open up more jobs for them, let's say for language
See,
learning or
I
something
don't
like.
have a problem with liberal education, but what kind of courses are they offering? If they are, I have to find any Indian institute where they offer good war studies. They don't offer
True,
good history,
but like you said,
philosophy, history.
huh,
All they
but
are
like you
after is
said, na,
social justice and gender equality, something.
also, but like you said that you need to have good employment opportunities for them also. Like someone who let's say studies English literature or something, right?
Hmm.
So if the state employs them in like translator based courses, like let's say teach the local people like enhance their level of English proficiency or something,
Mm.
right? If there are certain employment opportunities like that where they give them a good salary or something, then that's a good, like, their education will be worthy of it. That's what I mean. Otherwise, you're left with very few opportunities. Either
Mm.
it's journalism or you get into law or something, right? Which is again like a technical field, less of a creative
Yeah.
field or something.
The effort assembled assumption, okay, Modi government has betrayed women by linking women reservation. See, I want to read this. The Modi government has betrayed women by linking the women reservation law with that of the census and delimitations,
Implementation.
postponing it indefinitely. This is a big
Mhm.
blow to women who would have rightly got
Rightly got one
one
third
third
reservation in the
reservation in the
election.
election itself. Women are facing the brunt of the economic distress, which loss of jobs and income, forcing them into depths of survival. In particular, there is a triple burden due to caste. Okay, sexual violence against women and children are sharply increasing by 28% during the 10 years of Modi rule. Okay, retrograde Manwadi ideologies promoted patriarchal, communal, and casteist practices are being actively promoted by the ruling party. So, what is I want to know the what is gender composition of the Communist Party of India? Let's see. I don't know the statistics. Party of India female representation. Okay,
Just
how
look at
many?
their Wikipedia, na CPIM.
Okay, CPIM. I'm pretty sure it will not be 50%. I am not finding the composition. Can you find something?
So in the leadership, you have one female leader, Brinda Karat
Out
from
of
Delhi. 'There are two women out of 17.
17 to okay.
Uh,
Now
two
is
out
this
of
the
17.
representation? Huh?
2 out of 17.
17, yeah. That is
Uh,
the it is
female
not even one third.
representation.
It is not even providing like it's not even one third.
Okay.
As promote patriarchal caste is better. So because the most dangerous trend has been
State secretary.
committed in judicial crimes, as we have seen in Bilkis Banu case. In addition of the protection given to the supporters of the BJP based on their powerful caste connections as Hathras case. These are issues that we can discuss after that. Like it is, yeah, these are important issues that I understand.
So
Yeah,
there are
these are actual
26
criticisms.
states where they have state secretaries in 26 states also.
Hmm. But they don't have power,
CPIM.
right? State secretary means like what?
Yeah.
They're head of the Communist Party. That's it.
Representative. Yeah, yeah,
The Communist
representative.
Party, nothing more. They don't have any state power. CPM stands for the
Mhm.
law for reservation in the private sector and for immediate filling of vacancies in reservation post within dilution. Not in the
Yes.
Communist Party. It's just in the state only. They have to fill the vacancies.
Mhm.
In
Mhm.
in Communist ruling party, 17 out of 2. That's it. That's the best they can do for protection of constitutional and legal rights of Adivasis and end to cultural assimilation. In order to acquire
Assimilation.
proper data on OBC in okay. To conduct caste census along with okay. General census is overdue. It stands for the immediate implementation of one-third reservation of the women for strengthening process of justice for women victims of crime. Okay, great.
We should do one
See,
on the
they are
census
criticizing them
situation.
so much, I understand. But
Mhm.
how many CPM female leaders are in limelight? I don't know even one of them. But BJP has brought Smriti Irani. It's just not Smriti Irani. She defeated Rahul Gandhi and came. It's just not BJP just gave ticket to Smriti Irani. She proved herself.
Mhm. Mhm. True, true, true.
And is there any someone like equivalent in CPM? Like who has risen from ground?
I don't follow politics more.
Uh,
Even as close as yours, I think.
See,
No, but
imagine some BJP candidate first time coming and defeating Rahul Gandhi in Amethi twice.
Mhm. True,
And
true,
Rahul Gandhi
true.
left Amethi and came to Kerala now. Got
Kerala.
that? Let's Wayanad.
True,
He's competing from Wayanad. That is an inspirational woman story.
true.
Remove the party, whatever the party she's coming from. She came from ground and defeated one of the dynasties of India in Indian politics.
Hey, this is what happens now. They have this, like, their cookbook of writing the manifesto is just going against, like,
See,
this
these
is
are, see, you are
what is
thinking,
wrong, this is
see,
how
most
we'll
of the
fix
people
it.
think that the CPM is putting this manifesto to implement it. No, they put this manifesto to come into power. Implementation will be very different.
True, true, true. No, but again, like, the argument will be based on the manifesto itself, right? Let's say if they implement 1 to 2%, I mean, 1 to 2 points from this
Hmm.
manifesto. So the argument will be made, like, with reference to this only. That's what I'm going to say. Like, let's say we next refer the Congress or BJP's manifesto. So whatever proposals they make for the next 5 years, like, the reference will come from this.
Yeah, but very skeptical.
Don't be
Next,
skeptic. You
I
can
am
you
not
can
skeptical.
actually,
I definitely know they'll not do it.
me skeptically, this is it. I think for us as citizens, what is left is just to watch, basically.
Hmm.
Like, also one of the reasons why I don't follow politics is because I know that this is just like any other profession, right?
Hmm.
Like, for example, like, for us, we are also learning while we are working, right? So, like, the decision they are making is not necessarily, we think of them as like government servants or something, but they are also figuring out how to build a career, successful career for themselves. So it's just
Hmm.
like, yeah, for us, it's either you can watch, or if you get the chance to participate in it in some way, then you get a better first-hand experience of how difficult, let's say, it is to pass a legislative bill or something
Hmm.
like that.
The other section, how many pages are there in this?
44
Le-
pages.
Legalizing corruption. Prime Minister Modi has claimed that BJP has provided
Yeah.
corruption-free government. Yeah, there is no corruption in Kerala, guys. That's why every company is going to Kerala to establish their this thing. Verdict declaring electronic
Yeah.
bond as a unconstitutional. Correct? 50. This is electronic bond issue only. This is this we
Their
have discussed
argument, their
already.
argument here is, we want state funding of elections.
State funds like elections, right?
State will fund elections so that
Uh,
corporate donations. Yeah.
now state will conduct the elections, right? Fund means what? They have to fund
No, no,
the.
no, no. Yeah. So, like, let's say BJP is running in their election, let's say UP. So the
Hmm.
state will fund
Why the
the
state will
elections for.
fund? Why will the
I don't know. But
party in the power will fund the opposition?
more importantly, how will you, like, what is the infrastructure for this?
Hmm.
Like, for example, Indira Gandhi, one of the reasons the reason emergency came into existence was because she had sought the favor of like state and central government employees,
Hmm.
which was not which was illegal basically back then,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, so I think this kind of, I don't know what the situation is right now, but, like, basically it's the job of the district administration to organize these rallies, or like,
Hmm.
basically the podium and rostrum and
Ah,
everything.
basically, they want to destroy all the political parties and make CPM only party. That's it. Then
No,
funding will go
what
for them
what I
only.
mean, what I mean is, like, when they're claiming this, whether there is an actual infrastructure or something constitutional provision such that they can do this or not in the first place. That is
That they
the,
don't care.
like,
That
more
they don't care.
important question.
They know they'll not implement it, so they don't care. Jammu and Kashmir. This is important. One of the first acts of Modi government in 2001 to abrogate the Article 317 resolution of State of Jammu and Kashmir, converting it into two union territories. Along with the Article 35 Constitution is also abrogated. In this case, pushing those long-standing Hindutva agenda. Oh, Jammu and Kashmir is also no Hindutva agenda. It is not an Indian agenda according to the communists.
Hmm.
Basically, they said like they will be giving developing Adivasis and Dalits in India, but not in
Hmm.
Jammu and Kashmir because
Hmm.
they oppose 370. See,
Hmm.
abrogation of 370 made Dalits and Adivasis in the Kashmir to apply for the government jobs.
Hmm. Hmm.
When
Hmm.
370 was there, they cannot even claim that they are Adivasis or Dalits. So they will not be given
Hmm.
any state jobs. So here they are
But
contradicting
also,
themselves.
but also there's few things, like, for example, one of the reasons primarily it was abolished is such that people from other places can go and buy land there,
Uh,
right? And one argument made was that lithium reserves were found, etc., etc., and one of the first like large chunk of land that was bought by subsidiaries related to Adani.
hmm.
So So yeah, like this is the issue with Leh Ladakh also. Like one of the reasons is they gave legislature to Jammu Kashmir, but they did not give it to Leh Ladakh.
Yeah, because it's not
Like
a what you call. It's not as volatile as Jammu and Kashmir, right?
it's not as volatile, but it's also important now because you
Ah,
have
important,
China
yeah.
and Pakistan.
Uh,
You see, first of all, if you are calling it a union territory, why aren't you giving it a legislature? There is no
uh,
legislature. There is no like everything is run by the central government, right? And there is
mm,
one constituency that is also Leh, I think. So the people of Leh Ladakh, they were claiming they wanted two constituencies, one for Leh, one for Ladakh,
mm.
and statehood is what they wanted, and also like kind of their UPSC, like Public Service Commission,
Public Service
so
Commission.
that they can, yeah, so they can have localites recruited in such and such posts. So all of the arguments like they made, and I think I told you earlier also, I posted it in the group as well, that basically BJP had promised this. So wait, so there is a line. BJP states declaration of Ladakh under sixth schedule of Indian Constitution. So
Mm,
basically, the fifth and sixth schedule talk about the like tribal status of um, certain regions, let's say. So what happens like if you give tribal status to a certain region, economic activity in such and such regions is quite limited. Like nobody can immediately buy land or you know
Ah, that's
take
because
up
they're
some big
tribal region.
projects. Yeah, yeah, and
JK is
also
not tribal region.
no, not about JK. I'm talking about Leh Ladakh.
Mm.
So they wanted to get them some like tribal status recognition.
They want that recognition because they want to preserve their culture.
Culture, true,
Mm.
but also the state gets certain funding from the central government to
Mm.
empower
To
these
empower that, yeah, yeah, yeah.
communities.
That was there in
Yeah,
Northeast as well, right? Like in all the state almost.
yeah.
Since
So
there is a
like
series of, yeah,
this is something BJP had actually promised them in the 2019 Lok Sabha agenda. They
okay.
haven't fulfilled it yet.
Mm.
Like it's not something they asked for; it's something that they promised, and now even today, like when they're asking for it, there is no clear resolution of it.
Mm. Yeah.
So, which is why like things like this manifesto are quite important because like we need to have some basis for arguing. See, because you promised this and you have not delivered, right? Why have you not delivered? What are the
But they are
issues
not
stopping you from
mentioning that, they are
delivering?
mentioning in the 370. They want to above.
No, not them. They
But
just
yeah,
spitting
that's
garbage
a
here.
discussion.
I don't know
Since
what
then,
their
yeah, yeah.
point also here is. Just
Moving on,
read the highlighted part now.
all that.
Commitment to autonomous status granted by this
In
every
CPM,
fora to defend the
continuing
rights of the
commitment to
people.
autonomous status guaranteed by
What's the point?
state maintenance using a
They already have their own legislature.
no 370 will remove that, right? The
No, they have their
legislation.
own legislature
The
after
legislation
the
was there, but they
after
don't have their
370.
own constitution.
Yes,
Before
but they
370,
have a
they were,
separate like see
see,
when these
they'll
two
have
union
all the
territories.
powers of state, but they don't have these extra powers like constitution and these kind of things. Separate constitution in Jammu or Kashmir.
True, exactly. The extra see that too had more to do with basically governance and also buying land.
Hmm.
That
So
is the main
I
reason
just
that
want to ask one thing. The CPM continued. So using every forward to defend the
nothing.
rights
There
of
is
people of
no
Jammu and Kashmir. I'm just asking, will CPI compete from Jammu and Kashmir? No, they'll not do. So why?
maybe I don't know.
They'll not do.
Then
No.
northeast.
Northeast. The ethnic conflict of Manipur continues since May, leaving hundreds of people dead, hundreds of thousands of displaced. This day, propaganda killing, including Northeast, Assam, are wholly responsible.
So
Ethnic
you
conflict
had
between
Methi
government.
and Kuki conflict,
Cookie
and the
conflict.
central government supported the majoritarian chief minister and his government.
Hmm.
So yeah, what is their point?
Point.
Let's see.
Particular Mizoram,
Sharpening of polar.
the sharpening of polarization across the Northeast. Some had made situation dangerously tense and increasingly being in a border state with Myanmar and giving situation in that country very precarious and dangerous situation. Development in both JK and in Manipur has serious implication of national security. Okay.
I think they'll talk about
Yeah,
it later on
this is
in
when
their
the comedy
upcoming.
begins, but there is only 10 minutes left. So shall we go for another? Okay, okay. We'll just continue.
Sure. This is the last point, I think. Then there will be the part two thing.
Foreign policy.
Just read the highlighted part, na?
Yeah, yeah. The
Because
CPM stands
basically
for.
they'll build up the whole paragraph and then they'll give the point. This is what we want to do.
Yeah. The CPM stands for non-aligned foreign policy, which best serves the interests of our own country. It
Which we're
stands for
already doing.
uh, it stands for good relation with our neighbors while defending every aspect of our country. Okay, I want to emphasize this thing. They have mentioned this, right? But in the same section, they have mentioned that we should support Palestinian people. Like
Palestinian
how
people.
Palestinian people? How will that
How are
benefit the
they
Indian
True,
government
true,
or Indian state?
true.
Israel is providing technology, military technology for us. What is the
Uh,
advantage of supporting Palestinian people? The Quad has been converted into an active strategic military alliance in Indo-Pacific. US Israel Indian axis is consolidating. Okay, India has abandoned traditional leadership of non-alignment movement. Since Modi became PM, he did not attend a single non-alignment movement summit because there are many poles now. It's not like Soviet Union and the USA. There are many poles. There is Russia, China, and the Europe is separate. They are still living in Soviet Union. CPM stands for defending Indian constitution, democracy, and improve people's welfare.
People's welfare.
They don't believe in any of these things. All of these things the communists should not believe. It's by their own
Look at
ideology they should not believe.
Look at the first point.
This one,
Defeat the BJP and its allies.
allies. First, you should get elected in Kerala, then think about defeating BJP in center. Increasing the strength of CPM and left parties in Lok Sabha from 3 to 2 or 4 or 5. Ensuring that an alternative secular government is formed at the alternative.
The center.
Okay. Center.
They already have a coalition government, so like the first point really made me laugh because like who writes this in the manifesto?
Yeah, manifesto.
We
right?
will
Like,
defeat the
BJP.
We will defeat this and their allies. Why? Obviously, that's the whole point you're contesting.
So, is BJP a communist ally in Kerala or not? So, is Congress an ally or not in the first place? No. So, will you defeat Congress in Kerala? So, will you defeat Congress in center as well? The highlights of such alternative policies with CPM is pledging the implementation of protecting the secular principles and demographic right enshrined in Constitution. Enforcing the farmers' rights to self minimum supporting price. Okay. These are all done. Right to work as a constitutional. Old age pension with minimum monthly pension with no less than half the minimum wage. Oh, minimum wage, do they think we are America? But they have to stop reading American Marxist magazines. They should read. They should go to Indian villages. Rupees 6,000 per month, whichever is higher for all senior citizens.
For all senior citizens.
Okay. All senior citizens means members of the Communist Party. Rollback in privatization is defense, energy, railways, and basic reservation in jobs, education. Okay. Reference of electoral bondal scheme. In defense and constitutional democracy. Oh my God. Measuring and safeguarding independence, autonomy. Removing death penalty for the statues. This will never happen if the communists come into power. Death penalty is something that communists made famous in Soviet Union. They have many innovative ways of conducting death penalties. Well, you have to study the Soviet archives to understand like how innovatively they will kill. Scraping of mandatory use of Aadhaar card and biometric. See, here they are talking about private protection and okay, they're scrapping. Okay. In defense and secularism. Scrapping removing anti-conversion law bills in states and targeting minorities. Okay. Removal of RSS personal appointment in key positions. How? RSS is an organization. How can you say that if you are part of this organization, you will not be allowed in the government? Intermittent banning of all illegal private armies means communist armies. Oh, there should be only communist armies in a communist state. Yeah.
No.
There should not be any private armies.
No. Like the vigilantes, for example, like APVP groups or something that they.
Those are not armies. Armies have a certain definition.
They have the vigilante groups, no?
Vigilante groups like various senas.
Yes.
that are attacking Dalits minorities in the name of cow protection and spreading communal
Our
hatred.
protection is spreading communal hatred.
Okay, anything
Mob
appropriate.
lynching.
Ensuring exemplary punishment for perpetrators of communal violence, regardless of their public or official positions. And I never read that.
Position.
Protecting the rights of, if you are communist party member, this will not apply. Only for opposition. Protection rights of minorities and of dignity without any fear of discrimination. See, purging all school textbooks and syllabus in higher education of context reflecting communal bias and prejudices. So we cannot say communists are great in a textbook because that will be prejudice. Communists are good is also prejudice. They don't mean this by that. They'll write the communists are great people, Stalin is a great guy, Lenin is a great guy. They mean prejudices on opposition only. It's not related to communists. These laws will not apply to communists. Alternative economic policies, restoring planning commission. Planning commission. See, that's why I'm saying they are
1950s.
in
Nehru
Soviet Union.
government.
They are in Soviet Union only. Still planning commission. They didn't even
Reached the
move to Maoist
1950s.
China. They are still in Soviet Union only. Enlarging resource base and taxes. Public provisions. Okay. These are all that we have discussed. Resource mobilization, tax speculative capital gain for restoring long-term capital gains. I don't even understand what this is. Okay, financial sector regulation. Or be Yeah, there are few funny parts, man. I read few funny things. I have to strengthening federalism. Okay, this we have discussed on.
Anyway, our podcast is comedy, so
Uh,
there should be something funny.
the CPM stands for people-oriented infrastructure planning and development, not for private corporation.
private
Means there will
corporation.
be no infrastructure at all. Facing of increasing control, international financial situation. They can't even win elections in states. Rolling back of national pipelines. Okay, monetization pipelines. It's reversing operations of maintenance. Yeah. Finance, I don't have much. Okay. These are all revival of agriculture. So they will make us till land.
Go back to
Go
crop
back to Stone Age and support agriculture.
cultivation and
Uh,
this C2 plus 50%, 1.5.
okay,
They
land
code
issue.
it so heavily. Why don't they just write 1.5 C2 or 1.5 bus with all this fancy
Food
C2 plus?
security, seeking elimination of provision of 10 kg food grains per individual, 5 kgs free of cost, 5 kgs subsidized. Supporting initiatives, government.
Yeah.
Food
I
security
think Modi
public.
got more like the other two have also promised something
See, the
similar.
the, the
And
worst
any
thing is most of the things are done by BJP, but they will be called right wing government. I think they should be called communist government, not this one. This should be called a Soviet government. Well, foreign policy, yeah, this is the funny part. But the podcast is about to end, but we will continue this comedy in the next episode. I'll send you the link. Wait.
Okay.